The Jackrabbits forced 3 turnovers, committed only 3 penalties, didn't give up a sack, 5 different players scored touchdowns, and they racked up over 300 rushing yards. That's how you dominate on the biggest stage there is in the FCS.
That's a team performance, right? Like you said, from every level, from every position, everybody took care of business.
And John Stiglmeyer just got the shower. He got the bucket dumped on him. Tucker Kraft, a big hug. Stig has found the culprit and is pointing his finger at him. The Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year has won his 199th career game, and it is by far his sweetest win. Hugs all around on the east sideline of Toyota Stadium. Gronowski under center, Gus Miller puts a knee to it. And the final 20 seconds are about to run off. Let the celebration begin. Ring the bell, Jackrabbit Nation. Your football team is the FCS National Champions. Are pouring out of the bleachers on the east side of the stadium to celebrate with this team in yellow and blue. The Jackrabbits lost their opener at Iowa 7-3 and then won 13 consecutive games. The program's first ever #1 ranking. 3 home victories in the postseason, and then a dismantling of their arch rival in Frisco, where the Bison had never lost before. And South Dakota State is your national champion for the 2022 FCS season. We all know how this story ends, but let's go back to where it began. 20 months earlier, ironically in the same place, Frisco, Texas. The Jackrabbits were in the national championship for the first time, meeting Sam Houston on a damp, dreary, drizzly day. And on the game's 4th snap, things turned even darker. Mark Gronowski was hobbling off the field. Keaton Heide's going to be the SDSU quarterback.
I actually ended up running into Garrett Greenfield's back on that one, which I probably should have cut into the hole, but I just remember one D lineman going down on my knees and then the other linebacker going up top, so I kind of just got folded over, and I really thought I rolled my ankle at first, but ended up kind of like feeling my knee slip, and I got up. I felt fine. I was like, maybe I can just walk this off, but I really kind of felt like something wasn't right, and then after going into the tent, knew it was going to be the end of the game for me.
Despite Gronowski's injury, the Jacks took the lead in the 4th quarter, but Sam Houston rallied, and with just 16 seconds left, the Bearcats scored, handing the Jacks a 23-21 defeat.
I was right there, and it's tough because when you're couple a foot from the play, it's tough that you're right there, and if you're just a step quicker, that you could have made the play or something and won a national championship.
Our instincts as a program was to stay on the field, was to observe the trophy presentation, and really most people were crying, and rightfully so.
After watching the orange confetti fall, seeing Sam Houston celebrate, it's the things like that, just that pushed me the next couple of years to get to what we got this year. Just very motivating. You don't ever want to feel that feeling again.
There is no doubt that the experience in the spring had a huge impact on every day moving forward in every one of our guys' lives and workouts and so on. I believe that totally.
7 months later, the Jacks entered the playoffs unseeded. They played 4 games in 4 weeks in 4 different time zones, beating both Sacramento State and Villanova on the road, earning their way to the semifinals. But Montana State prevented SDSU from a return trip to Frisco, shutting the Jackrabbits out in the second half.
The tired legs from not having a bye week and just playing and traveling.
It's a lot of time on flights, it's a lot of time in hotel rooms, it's a lot of time, doing things that aren't, necessarily sustainable.
As fall camp opened, the #1 goal for this team could not have been any greater.
The expectations for this team was to win it all or it really didn't matter. It wasn't a successful season if we didn't win it all.
I mean, it was national championship or bust. The expectation was a national championship all the way.
It was to get back to a national championship, and our guys we had great leadership. We have great leadership, and that was a huge part of that run.
One of those leaders, quarterback Mark Gronowski, was back. The injury he suffered in the spring forced the Missouri Valley Football Conference's Offensive Player of the Year to miss the entire fall season.
And it was the first season I've never played, and it really sucked, and I had to change who I am and who I was going to be that entire year and my role on this team. And I ended up learning a lot from Chris Oladokin and trying to watch film with him and kind of learning how he watches film, how he takes notes.
You know, just to see Mark, handle adversity and do what he did. He's a tremendous football player, but, even better teammate.
Mark's just a difference maker. I mean, I know that's a cliche saying, but he's just a winner. He just brings this charisma and swagger about him that other guys feed off.
Mark's a winner. He's going to do whatever it takes to win, and I'm glad he's on my side.
Mark's never, ever wound up in the huddle at all, and he brings a lot of emotion to the game, but when we're in the huddle, it's honestly really calming.
The Jacks would need that calm presence in their season opener at Iowa. The Hawkeyes had won the Big Ten's West Division in 2021, and nearly 70,000 fans were awaiting the yellow and blue at Kinnick Stadium.
John O'Brien grabbed me in the tunnel going out, gave me a hug, said, thank me, I'll get emotional here, and said, I never thought I'd play football again. And I thought, how cool is this? And Graham Spalding did the same. He said, thank me for it. So above all the hoopla and stuff, that was really cool.
That was a very crazy atmosphere. It was loud.
You see the players and the crowd is just a blur behind you, but it's just like a sea of people. It was just a crazy thing to look at.
They're one of the best teams in college football, one of the best defenses in college football. So, when you play one of the best teams, it's going to be a physical game for sure.
That was exemplified by two starters suffering significant injuries. On SDSU's fourth offensive snap, All-American tight end Tucker Kraft was lost for 6 games.
Tucker is such a great aspect to our run game that people really don't notice him as a tight end and think that he's only there to catch passes, but he's one of our best run blockers, and it would have helped a lot to have him in that game.
What he brings to the table, we're not going to be able to fill, but just to be able to, put more on our shoulders because we had to.
Later, starting linebacker Caleb Francel made this interception, setting up a Jackrabbit score. But in the process, he suffered an injury that would sideline him the rest of the year.
He took advantage of his opportunity and he got that pick, and it was so sad to see him go down because you work so hard for those moments, but you never know when your last play can be in the season.
The game was also a rare case of missed opportunities for the Jackrabbits, as that one big play seemed within reach and yet unattainable.
Yeah, I dropped one. I hurt myself during that play. I wish I could have caught it. It probably would have put us in a position to score because the offense, they started inside the 20 almost every series. So I wish I could have made that play, but some things happen. Just got to move on.
We just couldn't really get things clicking, and I felt like we didn't really have our connection and what we really wanted to be as an offense, and we didn't really have an identity going into that game. Of who we are and who we wanted to be.
I mean, Mark comes off a whole year of watching a ton of tape and rehabbing his knee. We had a bunch of new linemen, a new coordinator. Losing that game definitely did some good things for us and kind of lit a fire under us because we knew that it was kind of a missed opportunity, but I think it propelled our season.
But we knew that if we can stop a Big Ten offense, that we could dominate the rest of the season and be that #1 defense in the country.
The defense held Iowa to just 166 yards. They intercepted 1 pass, recorded 2 quarterback sacks, and forced 10 punts, allowing only a field goal. But the Hawkeye defense recorded 2 safeties, handing the Jackrabbits a 7-3 loss. It would be the only time the yellow and blue would taste defeat that season.
What does it mean? What does it look like when the Jackrabbits play every play like literally it's their last play? What does that look like to us? Looks like it does.
The home opener was a rematch of the previous year's playoffs as UC Davis entered Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, and the defense was suffocating. The Jackrabbits carried a 7-point lead into the 4th quarter when one of the wilder plays of the season occurred. On 1st and goal, high snap, it's behind Gronowski, picked it up off a bounce, rolling to the right side, he'll throw it to the end zone, and diving and making the catch, Tyler Feldkamp.
Well, that play was completely designed by Coach Lujan. No, I'm kidding. But it was a play where I was calling the cadence and I didn't end up even saying hut yet, and the ball snapped over my head and I was not ready for it. And it was actually supposed to be a run play. And by the time I started rolling out, I was planning on just throwing it away, but all of a sudden I see Tyler Feldkamp in the background just waving his arms, and decided to try and be a playmaker and throw it up to him, and we ended up being successful with it, which ended up being a pretty important touchdown in the game, ended up being a pretty close game in that one.
And I remember seeing the ball saying, crap, like just, you know, all the worst things on your head, and then he picks it up and he scrambles out and just get rid of it, just get rid of it. I'm saying it in my head, and then he throws it. What? Like, it's one of those cardinal sins that you just never do. You never pick up the ball and just chuck it.
Hold my block for way longer than normal, and I'm like, what is going on back there? And then I see Mark out to my right.
Mark gonna make a play no matter what it is, and he finds Tyler Feldkamp back in the end zone, just sitting there by himself, and made the play, which is very exciting because that's Tyler's first touchdown.
And he's sitting there wide open in the end zone, so it worked out perfectly.
It was a really fun play.
Then, under a shadow cast by a full moon, things got a little spooky. The Jacks led 24-10 with 5 minutes left, and were driving near midfield. At this point, a game would normally be in hand. But this was a night for the peculiar. SDSU lost a fumble, and less than 2 minutes later, UC Davis scored to draw within 8. But SDSU blocked the extra point. Trailing 24-16 with 3 minutes to play, the Aggies' onside kick attempt was successful. And then, things turned even more bizarre. Hastings looking down the center of the field, and in traffic, the ball is dropped out of the hands of Tompkins, but caught on the deflection by McAllen Castles for a UC Davis touchdown. The game-tying two-point conversion attempt was unsuccessful, and the Jackrabbits were victorious.
I look at the UC Davis game as the Lord likes the Jackrabbits, because the way that all turned out, it was like, what is going on? And in the end, we made a play to win it. So a lot of unique emotions in that game, but we got it done.
Amid all of the expectations this team had, a 1-1 record was anything but satisfying.
Like, we weren't happy with anything about that game. Yeah, we won. It was a close game, but we should have dominated that game.
We're still getting the hang of things, and me personally, like, I wasn't doing my best, so I couldn't get upset because I wasn't bringing my all to the table.
I didn't feel like I was playing to the best of my ability, and I didn't feel like the entire offense was playing to our best ability.
You know, there were a lot of things that we were still kind of working through and still kind of, you know, finding who we were as a team, and I don't think that anyone in our team or in the locker room was nervous at all because we knew the talent that we had. We just kind of had to piece it together and gel a little bit.
For me, after the Davis game, we sat down and said, where are we as a program, and what do we need to do? And I think it was just what we needed at that point.
Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card. As SDSU prepared for its final non-conference game against Butler, injuries forced Jason Freeman into the starting lineup at linebacker. At 5 feet 9 inches and at even 200 pounds, he is not physically imposing. That's why he ended up at Olivet Nazarene, an NAIA school within an hour of Chicago's South Side. But he excelled there, twice earning All-America honors. And it just so happened he had a relative who played football at SDSU, Dyshawn Gales.
We were at my sister's house, and I was just kind of talking to him. I kind of knew that my last year at Olivet was going to be my last year. So we were just kind of talking about SDSU, and I was like, could you put in a word for me or whatnot? He was like, I'll do my best.
It was mostly him. The film speaks for itself. I just told Coach Rogers, if you look for a linebacker, I got a guy. He was looking at transfer, but Jason, he made a name for himself.
Just talked to him about it. Luckily, Coach Rogers seen my film. Had our conversation with Coach Rogers. They brought me up on a visit. I really liked what I saw, enjoyed the environment, the school, the people, the team.
When we ended up getting him when he committed, I watched his film immediately. And I ended up seeing all his accolades, and I was like, this guy's going to be a dude. This guy's going to be a dude. And
really, Jason Freeman was supposed to be an insurance policy. Everybody knows what insurance policies are. You don't want to use them, but you have to have them. But what a great addition.
It's probably a little bit different coming into a new place as an older guy, you know, that's had some college experience, but he worked his tail off since he got here, and that really like showed on the field.
Seeing things that he does, he brings a lot of juice to the defense.
I see a guy sitting in special teams beside me, eating a string cheese stick, totally focused. That's what comes to mind initially. All the other things about his focus, his work ethic, his quiet confidence, and then obviously ended up being a great player for us.
Missouri Valley Football Conference play opened with a heavily hyped matchup in Springfield, Missouri. Gronowski, the league's Offensive Player of the Year in the spring, against Jason Shelley, who earned the honor the previous fall.
Just going into practice that week, we knew he was a great player, and he can make things happen when nothing was there. So our D-line stepped up big time in that game. They were keeping him in the pocket, not allowing him to get out and make plays with his feet. So honestly, the D-line is the MVP of that game for sure.
Shelley was sacked 4 times and intercepted twice. The SDSU defense was stifling, limiting one of the highest-powered offenses in the Valley to just 258 yards. And with the Jacks nursing a 7-0 lead in the third quarter, safety Colby Herter made arguably the play of the game.
Oh yeah, the pick that he got chased down on?
I remember it was man-to-man. I thought I should have had the pick because I was trying to undercut the route. It was a great receiver named Tyrone Scott. And I seen the quarterback roll out off a film that we get during the week. I tried to jump and Kobe made it. I'll give him a little trash talk about it because he got caught by a quarterback, but it was a great play.
I think he wanted to make that a pick 6, but I think it was like 100 degrees out and everybody was dead tired, so he didn't make it down the field, but that was just a huge play in the game. So we joke with him, you know, unhook the trailer and get down the field and just give us a touchdown, but he couldn't make it down the field.
He had all that open field, and of course the quarterback of all people comes back down and tackles him there.
On offense, SDSU's first 2 scores were set up by Isaiah Davis runs. It was a homecoming for number 22, who grew up just an hour west of Missouri State in Joplin.
You know, it was fun to see, you know, the atmosphere kind of be like Joplin a little bit. Truly a blessing to, you know, to see the Joplin community, the fan base, you know, behind my back, you know, at Missouri State.
The Bears rallied to tie the game at 14, but Gronowski threw 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns as the Jacks claimed a 28-14 win.
Throughout the game, I really started to feel more confident in my ability to throw, and my knees started feeling a lot better, and we ended up playing so well offensively, and I felt like I was just in the zone that game.
With Kraft still sidelined, it was his cohort at tight end, Zach Hines, who turned in a career day, catching 7 passes for 127 yards and a score. He's my safety blanket, and if I'm ever in trouble or anything in the pocket, I know that he's going to be somewhere and going to be able to catch the ball because just of his size, and he has the best hands on our team.
A great example of next guy up, whatever the right term is. In my term, believe in your players, and Zach is that guy.
You know, we're always going to run a lot of the same stuff, and it just depends if what kind of coverage they're in, how they're going to play it. We have so many weapons on offense that if you want to take away the Yankees, it's fine. If you want to take away me and Tucker and Mike, that's fine. Like, depending on what you want to stop, we have multiple other ways that we're just going to go about it.
Zach is an extension of the O-line with good hands. I mean, I like to think I have good hands, and I know I'm faster than Zach, but they don't want to give me the ball, and that's definitely troublesome for me.
Mason's hands are not better than mine. That is 100% false.
Jokes aside, this was the first of 4 road games against league foes. All of them entered the year ranked in the top 25. 1 down, 3 to go.
The challenge was there. We have lofty goals. Here's the challenge, and we responded. And so many guys in that game responded.
That was a big win. We just knew once we got that big win, we was going to get the train rolling, and we never looked back from there.
The following week against Western Illinois, 2 Jackrabbits stood out. Isaiah Davis roughed up the Leathernecks, carrying the ball 27 times for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He has that confidence, has that swagger that everyone wants and everyone needs in a running back or even just in a teammate. And he puts in more work than I've seen anyone ever put in work. And he came in already like a bowling ball and jacked, and he could run the ball. He run the ball hard, and he wasn't afraid of anyone getting in his way, and he was just going to run him over. And he is the type of guy that you really want on your team, want on your huddle. Great friend, great teammate, and just an all-around guy.
Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
He's just, I guess, a different animal compared to the rest of the running backs around. Just the consistency to want to get better, be better, make people around him better, him and Lamar, Angel, Josh. He kind of brings those guys up.
He was a funny guy. He probably don't speak as much, but he liked to laugh. He a goofy guy, and he a good family guy as well. He loved everyone around him. He's a good guy, a good respectful guy as well, and you can tell he's a really good person.
Meanwhile, Jackson Yankee caught a career-high 9 passes for 94 yards and a score.
Jackson Yankee, I mean, I'm going to be honest, the first year I was here, I couldn't tell him and his brother apart.
I like to think of Jackson Yankee as like a pretty sports car. I mean, you don't get it firing all too often, but when it gets going, I mean, it's amazing.
He is just the type of kid that really just strives to be successful in everything he does. He has such a good competitive attitude that you need in a receiver that's going to have to go up and make plays for you. He's our X, he's out wide.
One thing I love about Jackson, he's going to make his blocks. He's going to turn crack block into blocking 2 and making my job really easy.
He's going to block the corner. He's going to make the catch. He's going to motion and do things right. He's going to help his teammates out. He's a phenomenal football player.
He's just a great playmaker and does all the little things right.
The Jacks had won 4 straight, but were preparing for the most difficult 3-game stretch of the season. The 3 Dakota rivals, all playoff teams in 2021, and the last 2 on the road.
After my injury and kind of looking ahead a little bit and looking on the season that I'll be coming back at, I saw those 3 weeks in a row, and seeing the 3 Dakota teams, I was really excited and really pumped for it because, one, I'd never played USD before, and they'd always give us a lot of crap just because of we're not beating them in the past 3 years, even though they skipped out on us on the spring season. I was really excited to play them, North Dakota State, back-to-back weeks.
I mean, for me personally, I like to play in rivalry games and big games. I mean, that's when you get up the most. I mean, you like to think that you get up every single week the same, but those games bring a little extra juice, and that's the way the game's supposed to be played. And I'd like to play that way every single week.
After we got through the first couple of games, we were like, all right, now here's the gauntlet. We was talking about it at the beginning of the season when we seen the schedule. Like, this is going to be the gauntlet this season.
We're going to give them our best shot, and they're going to do the same thing for us. And just kind of one of those things that, we were ready for, and I think it made us even prepare a little bit better for them just because we knew that it was going to be such a challenge.
The first challenge was in-state rival USD, who had beaten the Jacks the year before on a Hail Mary with no time on the clock.
The touchdown, the last-second touchdown was on ESPN everywhere. Everybody's seen it.
I mean, leading up to the game, that was all over social media again. You know, what happened the year before, and that was just kind of a heartbreaker of a game.
It came up, and you see on Twitter all week, Midco posting about it because try to get hype for the game, and we'd seen that play one too many times.
You know, that's all on social media, that's all you see. They kept hanging out over our heads, and for me personally, I didn't get a play in that game, so I kind of had a little chip on my shoulder, to get back at them.
But the Jacks started slow. USD led 3-0 after 1 quarter, and on the opening play of the second period, a turnover handed the Coyotes the ball at the 9-yard line. With the visitors facing 1st and goal, it would be up to the backbone of this team, the Jackrabbit defense, to make a play.
Part of it's nice because you don't have to worry about them driving the football really far and getting tired. It's going to be quick 4 plays, and you got to give it your all.
Belief, belief. I think our defensive staff has always done a good job of not hanging their head.
And then Reeder comes up with another huge play.
2 wides right, 1 left. Jacks blitz. Campbell throw it to the right sideline, and it's intercepted in the end zone. Cale Reeder took the football away from Carter Bell.
I don't know. He just threw a fade ball, but he really just threw it right to Cale. Cale made a good play. caught the interception and another momentum shift for us.
Never want to say I'm worried or anything like that, but I got that kind of nervous feeling a little bit that we were going to be down 10-0 to start off this game, and that play really standed out just because of how game-changing that was and how it ended up changing how our offense gave us a little confidence that we're not going to be down 10-0 and we can end up going down the field and scoring on that next drive. And it kind of just changed the whole momentum of everything.
Provided a reprieve, the offense responded. Gronowski connected with Jackson Yonke to give the Jacks the lead. Then the 605 Hogs took over, manhandling the Coyote defense as Davis ran for 3 touchdowns.
Give to Davis, up the middle, 45-40, with a burst 35, breaks the tackle 30, 25, still going 20, stiff arm 15, 10, 5, what a run! Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
Meanwhile, USD managed only 58 yards the rest of the day. The pass rush of the yellow and blue suffocated Coyote quarterback Carson Camp, sacking him 7 times, 2 by team captain and middle linebacker Adam Bach. The man wears number 32, but his teammates describe him in other ways.
Machine, the Adam Bachinator.
Adam, we call him the robot.
That's a dog.
Machine. Monster. Muscle. I don't know why, but he's just an absolute freak. He's always in the play.
He's always running. He's always like a machine.
He squats a house and a half, it seems like. And just every time I look at him, I'm like, did you get more muscle on you? But I don't know how that's physically possible, but it seems like it.
Well, it's funny because I'm rooming with Bach, and like we both like to work out or whatever, and like everybody like makes a joke that like every time we go back to the room at night, like we do like a full workout before we go to sleep.
I mean, he works his tail off. He eats right. He studies. He's always doing something to better himself. And it's honestly so impressive to see how disciplined he is. And he's earned every single thing that he's gotten.
And he does every single little thing right, no matter what it is. He has one mode and it's just go, go, go. He doesn't stop. He always puts in the work. He never seems like he's tired.
Adam Bach is what I envision as a college football player. He's a great student. He's a great athlete, and he leads by example.
If you want to see somebody run sideline to sideline, up and down the field, just ripping and clawing all game long, watch Adam Bach, man. I love that guy.
The Jacks had won 5 in a row, climbing up to number 2 in the national polls. But number 1 was an old friend waiting in Fargo, North Dakota State. Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card.
The 605 Hogs are the best offensive line in the country.
The 6 stands for 60 minutes of full effort and intensity. The 0 stands for 0 excuses. And then the 5 stands for all 5 guys playing as one.
I get all the accolades and the rushing yards, touchdowns, but you know, it starts with those guys up front.
It was a ton of fun to see our guys start to gel and move along, and now, I mean, we're kind of a bunch of best friends and just have so much fun together.
Greenfield, McCormick, Miller, Berenson, O'Brien. They are the main 605 Hogs. But there are a few associate members.
Depending on the day, depending on what we wanted to call ourselves. We were the little Hog Juniors, the little Hoglets, depending on what we wanted to be that day. Just like, we're an extension. Everyone always talks about them. And it's like, oh, well, we're usually Black and Power too. It's usually us too, but we just have fun with it.
I mean, I think that our big plays pop when Jaden and Jackson, and Canyon as well, go out there and do their jobs. I mean, they are nasty getting after safeties and corners, and honestly, everybody's an extension of the offensive line at that point. Sometimes we see Mark running down the sideline, lean blocking, and a lot of times we're yelling at Mark to probably chill out and stop doing that, but he loves it.
Admittedly, the 605 Hogs has a nice ring to it, but Stig has a different pet name for the group.
I don't know where the fat guys deal came from. You know, I don't know where Holy Nutmeg came from. It comes out and it becomes part of your DNA. And so I know they don't like it at times, but I know this. They know I love them.
Some of our guys, some of the offensive linemen beat some of the skinny guys that he likes to say in races and stuff. So if he wants to say that we're fat, I mean, I don't know what those skinnier guys are doing.
The offensive line is anchored by 2 All-Americans, both co-captains. At left guard, 6'4", 305 pounds, Sioux Falls Roosevelt's Mason McCormick.
You know, you got the neck pad, number 60. You know, I love when he pulls.
Mason is one of the best leaders I've ever been around, one of the most flip the switch guys, if that's a term, I've ever been around. He can be the nicest guy in the hallway and the meanest guy in the football field, and that's what you need. And
high motor, high strong, putting dudes on their back, just continually giving as much effort as he has.
And at left tackle, 6'6", 305 pounds, Rock Valley, Iowa's Garrett Greenfield.
He's the guy that I don't have to worry about making a wrong play, and I can really trust that he is always going to be successful in all his blocking assignments, and he's going to do the right thing, do the right job.
A little subdued, you know, kind of within himself, doesn't get all excited, but what a great player.
The confidence that he plays with. I mean, I think we feed off each other, and he has been so awesome to play with, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Number 1 versus number 2. In the 45 years of FCS football, it's only happened once in the regular season. Today, a sellout crowd has squeezed into the Fargo Dome to witness history. Number 1 North Dakota State, number 2 South Dakota State.
We always say, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. They were the defending champions.
Go into the Fargo Dome, number 2, walk on number 1.
We had to get them out the way to get where we wanted to go.
We knew this game, whoever won was going to be the number 1 seed, and I had all the power in their hands to take control.
I remember getting there, walking to the stadium, just kind of looking around, all you see is green and yellow. I don't like the Packers either, so that's some ugly colors to me.
Definitely outside the locker room, there was so much juice leading up to this game, and everybody tries to overhype it. But NDSU is who they are.
You know who they are, they know who we are. It's going to come down to who's just better on that day.
If you can't get excited to play the number 1 team up north, there's something just wrong with you and you're playing the wrong game.
Let the talking end and the hitting begin. The Bison took the opening kickoff and marched right down the field, grabbing a 7-0 lead. SDSU responded with a nearly 7-minute scoring march. It started with Gronowski's arm. It ended with Davis's legs. And a pair of stiff arms, too. Up back to the left is Kevin Brenner, as Gronowski will hand to Davis, running off the right, inside the 20, inside the 10, stiff arms, multiple men, and he's into the end zone! Are you kidding me? Isaiah Davis, touchdown, Jackrabbits!
I got to the second level, 1-2 guys missed, you know, I was dragging 1 or 2 dudes, and then I just kept dragging my feet, and then eventually got to the end zone.
After that score, NDSU dominated the rest of the half, holding the Jackrabbit offense to only 1 first down in the next 20 minutes. The Bison were in the red zone looking to take a commanding 3-score lead. Once again, Colby Herter made a big play. Bison a 21-7 lead to the ball, 2nd and 9, SDSU 20. Miller starts to run, that's Peyton, he'll throw it with his left hand into the end zone, and it's picked off by Colby Herter, returning it out of the end zone to the 10, right numbers 15, and he's brought down at the 17-yard line.
I was thinking we got to get a stop win. I was preaching the whole game. I'm like, defense, we ain't going to win this game without us. They can't just keep going up and down the field. And I remember we had a conversation as a whole defense on the sideline, and we were just talking and saying, like, this game is on us. Like, offense and being a little whole defense, we giving up 21 points in the first half. Like, this not us. Try to get a turnover, and luckily Kobe made a turnover, and that was big for us.
Any interception is big, but when you're on your heels and you make a big play like that, it is huge in the whole scenario.
Herter's pick was huge, but SDSU still faced a 21-7 deficit as the third quarter began. And on this run, Davis injured his shoulder, limiting his effectiveness for the rest of the game. Losing an All-American running back would be concerning to most offenses, but not when you have Amar Johnson.
He really rose to the occasion and played to a very high level that he hasn't been able to just based on the amount of carries he's been able to get. And it was really cool to see how well he did in that game and how successful he was. And he showed no fear when he was running the ball against that team.
Times he has had opportunities, you know, he's taken full advantage of it. NDSU, incredible game, big time run, especially late in the game to get us in position to score.
Johnson the back, takes the handoff, starts right, cuts left, cuts back right, inside the 10, angling right to the 8, runs through a tackle to the near pylon. Touchdown, Jackrabbits! Johnson's touchdown run late in the third quarter brought SDSU to within 21-17. But it doesn't happen if not for the biggest show of determination by a Jackrabbit all season. Jacks from their own 37, 1st and 10, 2 wides right. Fake to Amar Johnson. Gronowski rolling out, nothing there, got hit, fumbled the football, and it's loose at the 29-yard line. The ball popped free. There was an NDSU defender, Cole Menz, who dropped to his knees. He had every chance to recover it, but somehow a Jackrabbit offensive lineman in the form of Mason McCormick saved the possession and maybe the game for South Dakota State.
Oh man, that fumble, that was a scary moment. I'm going to be honest, I started walking off the field after I saw the big pile just because I thought I lost it, and I thought the game was over at that point when that ball was lost.
The fumble was kind of a dumb play that we shouldn't let happen, but ultimately it happened, and I saw the ball fall out, and I saw this dude jump on it, and I knew that nobody else was getting to the pile, and so I just dove in there, and I mean, why not fight that ball away? Why not give it everything that I have? He had it in his hands, but I saw that he wasn't like cradling it like we're taught, and so I just kind of stuck my nose in there and just had to dig it out and claw it, and it came easier than I thought, if I want to be honest. But
you know, Mason is the one guy that you'd want at the bottom of the pile. He enjoys it down there. He's laughing, having fun, smiling, and when he recovers a fumble like that, he comes up to the sideline smiling, laughing.
Oh, you just took that away from him. That was just 100% determination.
There's no other guy that I would want trying to go grab that ball.
The other key performer on offense that day was Jaden Yankee. The wideout covered 83 yards on 7 receptions, including this 39-yard jet sweep that set up the go-ahead score.
Jaden's a difference maker, and in this game specifically, he had a huge impact in the game, and again, he kept doing it. It wasn't like he did it a couple times and then relaxed. His focus was unbelievable in a hostile environment and kept making plays.
You know, having a versatile guy that is going to go on their receiver, make blocks, catch the ball, but also, you know, go out there on kickoff return and, you know, punt return and make plays and do things like that.
He's more the happier one. He's the smiling guy. He always likes to have fun, always likes to joke around.
I think those two just pushing each other in everything. I mean, they're always bickering back and forth about who knows what, who jumped higher on what day, as if it matters that much.
When you say Yankee, it's synonymous with complete football player. It's synonymous with a guy that's going to do everything you ask, and it's synonymous with that's how they practice, which again, guys want to grow up to be like those two guys.
Hunter Dustman's third field goal propelled the Jackrabbits into the lead for the first time, 23-21. Still, just under 4 minutes remained, and the defense, which held the Bison to 5 first downs in the second half, needed one more stop. Cam Miller, the quarterback, takes the snap. Jacks rush 4. Miller looking, lobs it deep down the left side, and it's broken up! Deflected away by Dallas Beanham!
You know, when he bats that ball down, and our little section of fans up in the corner goes wild, and our sideline starts jumping, and then you know for a fact that the game's done.
Just being able to end it on our terms and not hoping for a missed field goal or something was big.
You know, I think it's a great example of play in the present. Our defense did not play well at the start of that game, and our coaches just kept telling them, do this, do this, do this, do your job, and they ended up doing it, and it turned out.
I'm so proud of you guys.
We love you.
I love you.
Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card. Winners of 6 straight, the Jackrabbits not only possessed the Dakota marker, they were now the #1 ranked team in the nation for the first time in program history.
We took a lot of pride in it. Being #1 team in the country, especially at FCS level, is really hard because some teams never get there.
I think that we were very mature about it. We never let it get to our head.
We believed that we were the #1 team, so just having that, you know, external ranking kind of validated it a little bit.
I wanted our present program obviously to feel excited and feel the responsibility of being that, but I also wanted everybody that put on the jersey to feel like they were part of the progress, the steps that were made. And so it was a proud moment, honestly.
Number 1 SDSU ventured into the Alaris Center in Grand Forks to take on 20th ranked 4-2 North Dakota.
The North Dakota game was crazy. There was a ton of random stuff that went on that was just like, what is this place?
These Dakota games started to feel like the same thing was happening over and over and over again.
The Fighting Hawks scored just 6 plays into the game, but UND's touchdown was much more significant than a 7-0 lead. All-American linebacker Adam Bach suffered an injury that would sideline him for almost 2 months.
I feel like I'm actually the one who injured Bach on that play, but we don't talk about that.
And I remember going in for the tackle, and I think maybe Jason was coming in from the other side, and then we both collided. They scored a touchdown.
I mean, the whole play was really my fault. I'll give that to myself.
Like, it didn't feel like crazy at first. I was like, that was like a stinger. And I had a lot of adrenaline. Like, I started walking off the field, and I just kind of feel like a little clicking in my leg. So I was like, something's not right. So go over to the trainers and stuff. They kind of figured that I broke my fibula.
The offense punted after 3 plays, and a long return set up another North Dakota touchdown. Trailing 14-0, SDSU again went 3 and out. The Fighting Hawks had the ball, a 2-score lead, and all of the momentum. Until
Tommy Schuster, shotgun snap, play fake, pass right side, intercepted! Dyshawn Gales, and it's all the way into the end zone! Pick 6! Touchdown! Jackrabbits! You want to talk about turning this game on its head!
And it was a play I seen all week on film. And I was low-key in the wrong spot, but I told Tucker Large, I'm like, I got this guy, you take my guy. And I just jumped off of it and tried to make a play for the team, and luckily I got 6.
And then he just placed the ball down. I was like, oh yeah, like, we're coming back.
I just said, calm down. It was a big play for the team, but I know we wasn't done, and that team's gonna keep fighting. I'm just like, chill.
Dyshawn's interception was definitely the turning point in that game.
That changed the momentum. That got the Jackrabbits believing back on track.
down by 7 at halftime, SDSU tied the game with a Gronowski to Jackson Yankee touchdown pass. The defense forced a North Dakota punt, and then the other Yankee, Jaden, did this.
And Peterson, a wobbly punt. This will cross midfield. Jaden Yankee on the run, center of the field, 35. Makes a man miss 40. 45 midfield. Cuts left 45. Up the middle 40. Breaking out right 35. Makes 3 different men miss inside the 30. Still going inside the 20. Stumbling inside the 15. He's inside the 10. Wow! Yankee all the way to the 8-yard line of North Dakota. 58 yards of awe-inspiring work by one Jaden Yankee.
Watching him punt return on the year was just fun because you never knew exactly what was going to happen. There was like a 98% chance that it was going to turn out well.
During that play, I was just thinking that he was going to go down, and then all of a sudden he's still running. And then I thought he was going to go down, and he's still running.
That's like some high school, Madden stuff that you see. That's not something you usually see in, college football, but that's just part of his, his talent, his God-given ability, to, be versatile.
I mean, that's an effort play if you watch it. I mean, he ran, what did he run, about 90 yards to get 60 yards? It was just a great job by him.
It could have been a touchdown if some people made the right blocks, but that's just a testament to Jaden on how good he is when he has the ball in his hand.
The offense immediately cashed in by using Gronowski not to throw a pass, but rather to catch one.
We ended up going into the huddle and calling a reverse pass to me. And I was really excited because when do I ever get to catch the ball? Never.
Well, I'm not a trick play guy, so when we call those, I close my eyes most of the time.
And maybe I could have scored a touchdown, but I ended up seeing Gus fall in front of me. I ended up having to hurdle Gus. Probably jumped a little too high and was a little too excited and ended up falling at the 1-yard line short.
Yeah, I think he could have just sidestepped it, but I mean, who am I to judge somebody carrying the ball?
The Jacks scored 35 unanswered points en route to a season-high output of 49. The offense hit its stride with the return of Tucker Kraft. The tight end from Timber Lake had missed the previous 6 games with an injury.
And he came back before he should have. He was told not to come back by people outside our program, and so I love Tucker for his commitment to the Jackrabbits.
The way that Tucker plays the game, as hard as he plays, the passion he plays with, I mean, it means a ton to our offense. And we definitely all fed off Tucker being back. And
the confidence he gives to our football team to have one more guy, one more weapon to use.
It was just fun to see him get in the end zone. And once he got in the end zone, we saw he had his charisma back, and it was time to go for sure.
SDSU had survived the gauntlet, beating all 3 Dakota rivals, overcoming early deficits in each. They were 7-1, ranked number 1 in the country, and there was a sense that this group of Jackrabbits was different.
This team was special, and the connections that we built and the relationships that we could always count on each other, and that no matter what adversity we were going to face, we were going to be able to face it together. And I think that was a big thing for us, that we're just doing everything together, and that it wasn't going to take one person that was going to have to be the star to win us games, that it was going to have to be the offense, the defense, special teams to really get it done.
Yeah, it was a sign of relief, but also it was just a reflection of our team. We all right, we got past them. We really didn't think anyone can beat us. You can't tell me every time we went on the field, we never thought we would lose.
We rose up, and that's the sign of a number 1 team. And again, I'm proud of the Jackrabbits.
You walked in number 1, you're walking out what? Number 1. Number 1, we got to do that.
October 29th marked the culmination of homecoming week on the SDSU campus, Hobo Day.
Biggest one-day event in the Dakotas, is that right?
Very good.
Craziness. I think the student section's always crazy, you know, just a good time, you know, a good tradition.
The whole week is great with the parades, the bonfires. It's a lot of fans, a lot of alumni in town, and
being together again as a university and having that be homecoming for us. It's just a really special day, a special weekend, and a special week that the university puts on.
How long it's been around, I honestly think it's staying a lot just because of how long he's been here and just kind of embracing the culture of SDSU, and I think that's kind of what that day is about.
I love tradition. I love the fact that people come back for a special game, for homecoming, for Hobo Day, and it doesn't matter who we're playing. I just love the concept of this is going to happen every year at South Dakota State.
Of course, not everyone loves the traditions.
Not being able to shave for a month, I'm not a big fan of that, personally.
Yeah, the no shaving for 30 days, it kind of gets a little rough for some of the guys, and some of the guys can't really grow great beards.
When I get it, you know, it just doesn't look right, I guess, so.
But some of them can grow some real nasty ones too, especially since they can't cut them and clean them up or anything like that.
We have some guys with ugly facial hair, there's no doubt. We have some guys that get excited about it. To me, again, embrace being part of South Dakota State University. Not the football program, but South Dakota State University. And when you do that, there's no questions asked.
As for the game that day, the Jackrabbits routed Indiana State. The team scored 49 points for the second straight Saturday, and the defense was dominant, as it was all year. Jimmy Rogers' unit intercepted 18 passes, the most in the FCS. The Jacks also featured the best rushing defense in the country, even more remarkable when you consider the injuries they dealt with. 20 different individuals started throughout the season.
Yeah, I just remember one week during practice this year, I remember seeing and counting, there was 14 guys out on our defense one practice, and we knew that there's going to have to be some guys that have to step up now.
In the fall, at the end of practice, when we're stretching, like, somebody goes down, there should be no drop-off. Like, we're all learning the same stuff. We're all putting in the same work. Like, there should be no drop-off.
There's not no guy on our team who couldn't play on the field.
We had a lot of veteran guys that have been around the program so much, and just knowing the defense, and, you know, when somebody goes down, it's the next man up, and we embrace that all year.
Being able to rotate that deep is something that a lot of successful teams don't have. They have their starting 11, and after that, there's a big drop-off. But having that depth allows us to keep us fresh, and and that's one reason why our defense was so dominant this year.
We were starting guys that weren't on the depth chart when we went to Iowa, and how do you approach that as a coach? You believe in them. Enough said. You just believe in them, and they'll surprise the heck out of you.
The month of November began for the Jacks in Cedar Falls, Iowa. and the word of the day was opportunity. For a win over Northern Iowa would clinch a regular season conference title for the third time in 7 years.
Physical game. You know, they play really well in the box, and they played us very well. They do every year.
Going into that game, I ended up hurting my knee the week prior, and we weren't going to have a lot of QB run into the game, and they ended up going to having to me split out a couple of times and have Zay kind of run a wildcat quarterback in a way.
Gronowski may not have been 100%, but Tucker Kraft certainly was.
Gronowski throws down the left seam, wide open, Kraft midfield, stiff arm inside the 40, another stiff arm inside the 20. How do you like that? Tucker Kraft to the UNI 17-yard line.
I see Tucker running free right up the seam and just gave him a good ball, and he ended up making some great plays down the field, using his speed, throwing kids left and right.
Yeah, he should have scored it. I ain't gonna lie, he should have scored it. He shouldn't let the safety tackle him, but you know, that's just, you know, this is an example of who Tucker is. You know, big body, big frame, physical, fast.
Well, again, that was Tucker Kraft. That was the gift. Why is he being looked at, or has been looked at, as an NFL player because of plays like that?
The Jacks took a 28-14 lead midway through the third quarter, but UNI would not go away. On the right arm of quarterback Theo Day, whose 16 completions covered 270 yards, the Panthers rallied to tie the game. But as successful as Day was with time to throw, he had a problem. A man on the SDSU defensive line by the name of Caleb Sanders. Number 99 was playing in his home state for the last time, and the All-American left his mark, sacking Day 3 times.
He was getting a lot of those double teams, and we knew that one of these games was going to be one of a breakout game for him.
A guy that's over 260, maybe 270, he's so fast off the ball. It's just crazy, insane to see him play like that.
Caleb Sanders is a goofball.
He's super funny, and he keeps the locker room light, you know.
I'd say he's a character. He's the funny guy in the locker room.
He just outmuscles people. Being a smaller guy, he can fit through places.
He has worked so incredibly hard, and he's such a freak athlete and so explosive. I mean, I would argue that there hasn't been a better defensive player since I've been in college that I've went against.
He will throw anyone. He's one of the strongest dudes on the team, and he is a disaster when it comes to a D lineman.
He's a force to not be reckoned with, I guess you could say.
The third Sanders sack of the day forced the Panthers to punt. Jaden Yankee's return put the Jacks in field goal range for Hunter Dustman. From the northern edge of the Twin Cities, the East Bethel, Minnesota native was a busy man.
He had to do all three. He had to do kickoffs, he had to do field goals, and he had to punt. And I can't imagine doing all three of those things just because how different each one is. And he really succeeded this year.
You know, when we recruited him, we thought that could happen. We kind of eased into that, and I remember the spring before last fall saying it to him, and he kind of looked at me like, "Oh, why not?" You know, and what a great job he did.
35-yard try for Dustman. Keaton Heide will place the snap from Jaden Mueller. Hunter Dustman from just inside of the left hash. Good snap, good placement. The kick is up, and it is no good wide left, but there's a flag. There's a flag. Hold the phone. We have a flag thrown at the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, leaping, receiving team, number 82. At the distance to the goal line, untimed down.
That penalty gave Dustman one more swing at history.
Can Dustman make it hurt? Mueller to snap, Heide to hold. A 26-yard field goal try. Good snap, good placement. The kick is up, and it is good! It's good! Hunter Dustman has kicked South Dakota State to the Missouri Valley Football Conference Championship.
Dusty just carries himself with a ton of confidence, and he does a phenomenal job. I mean, it kind of goes unnoticed, but I mean, when he kicks a game winner against UNI, he's kind of the hero.
You know, out of that game though came, what does Hunter want to hear when he's got a game-winning field goal? And it was kind of interesting. He told Coach Erickson, I'd just soon somebody told me a joke, you know, instead of trying to motivate me and stuff, which was really a unique deal.
So did you discover a joke or two that you tell him if needed?
I've never told a joke that has gone off well, so that was not my role as a head coach.
All jokes aside, South Dakota State had accomplished one of its goals. The Jackrabbits were Missouri Valley Football Conference champions.
It means everything, man. It ain't too many times you can win a conference, especially in the Missouri Valley. It's always tough, and after that game, we celebrated pretty good in the locker room. We was happy, but it was still that sense in the room, you're not done yet for us, but it meant a lot to us in that locker room.
Now let's sum it up like this. Listen, I love you guys. Two guys. Sanders, Dustman.
Definitely a cool experience. I just feel like everything I've been through this year has just been a whirlwind of emotions, just with how we won games and how we came back. So, yeah.
Perhaps Stig phrased it best when he chatted with me on the radio after the win.
You know, at 65, I don't want to get too excited. I might not be around. So
what a way to go!
Not in the Unidome. maybe in our stadium, but.
Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card. Like the team itself, Jackrabbit Nation set records. Over 100,000 fans attended home football games that season, with 2 sellouts and 5 games drawing better than 15,000.
It's such a special feeling playing in Dana J, and
I feel like it's more of a warm feeling, like you feel at home.
I hope that the brand of Jackrabbit football just keeps growing, but our fans have been amazing, and their support is everything. And I don't know if they realize, but they do have a huge impact on our game and how we play. We feed off them, and they definitely helped us get to where we wanted to be.
The difference that they make, especially when the other team's on offense, this last year I've never heard the stadium that loud. I've never heard the fans get that into it, and I think that our team feeds off of that a lot.
They help change the momentum, they help get us juiced up, they help us play that much better.
Our fans had the Dana J rocking. It was always loud. Even some of the playoff games where it's cold and you could hardly hear the checks being called on the defense. It was so loud in there, and they made a huge impact on our playoff run.
Because some schools don't have that, and I'm very appreciative that the community enjoys our football team so much.
SDSU closed the regular season hosting Illinois State, a cold day that became frigid for the Redbird offense. In fact, the only points the visitors scored came on a blocked punt. The Jackrabbit rush defense allowed only 45 yards. And how about this stat? Over the course of the 15-game season, only twice did an opposing offense tally 100 yards on the ground.
Coach Rogers is crazy how much confidence he got in the back seven and DBs as well. He just left us on the island, and we just focused for that.
I think the run defense was great because we played a lot of guys and they were fresh, and so we always had guys out there that could run to the ball and do the job.
That defensive line was anchored by 2 senior co-captains, Sanders, who dominated the UNI game, and Reese Winkleman. The pride of Marshall, Minnesota, he led the team with 8 sacks and 15.5 tackles for loss.
Oh, Reese, man, that's the grandpa, but man,
he's the old grandpa of the team, and he's kind of like the old wise guy.
That father figure on the team almost, he's definitely been around for a while.
I think we call him Yoda.
I mean, Reese's body has just been through the ringer, and he looks like an old man, but he goes out there and is so smart and still has a ton of explosiveness. It's kind of crazy how good he's been for so long.
I love Reese. Reese is one of those guys that when he says something, it means something. He works hard to practice all the time. He's a great leader. He's one of those guys that everybody loves, and those guys are special.
He was just a great person and a great leader to have on this team.
The Illinois State game also marked the first start in the career of Savion Williamson. Number 6 overcame injuries himself and stepped up in Adam Bach's absence. He started the next 3 contests
making 24 tackles along the way.
And so when Bach went down, you know, Savion, there was no hiccup, no hesitation in the defense, and Savion comes in there and makes those plays.
How about Savion? You know, you stand in the back and you watch, you get a couple reps here or there, you get some special teams, you have a serious injury in the spring, and then when your number's called, you rise up and start leading us in tackles. How cool is that? You know, as I answer this question, I literally want to hug Savion.
The Jackrabbits had won 10 consecutive games and the outright Missouri Valley Football Conference title.
We ain't sharing!
But while SDSU's regular season was complete, most teams still had another game to play. That, topped with the opening round playoff bye the Jacks were about to receive, meant the team would go 3 weeks between games.
There's a lot of talk behind, you know, are they going to come back ready? Are they going to be in shape? And, you know, I think it starts with, you know, the leadership.
And I just kept telling everybody that if we're not mature enough to handle 3 weeks off, we're not going to win the national championship. We're not mature enough anyway.
It was a lot, but it was also good for a lot of guys coming back from injuries, you know, myself included.
You know, at the start of the season, I complained, I whined, I said, how is this going to work? When we got to those buys at the end, I said, praise the Lord, this is just what we needed.
On Selection Sunday, there was a big question. Who would be the #1 overall seed, SDSU or Sacramento State? The Hornets shared the regular season Big Sky title, finishing a perfect 11-0.
At first, we thought we wasn't going to get it a little bit. We just kept hearing rumors that Sac State was going to get it because of the schedule, but
it is time to unveil the top 4 seeds. Your #1 overall seed, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, Reading.
Yeah, no surprise there. Head coach John Stiegelmeier, his unit's playing great this season.
You know, happiness, joy, you know, definitely something that you want to accomplish, you know, as a football team.
That was kind of surprising, actually. I mean, we felt like we deserved to be the #1 seed, but there was also an undefeated Sacramento State team that we thought might get the 1 seed, so we knew it was going to be 1 or 2.
And personally, I was really surprised just because everyone said we wouldn't, but I feel like that's kind of just the team that we were this year, that a lot of people say that we weren't going to come back in certain games, and we kind of just kept coming back.
I was not surprised. No, I'm not a guy that expects stuff, but I thought, okay, #1 team, we'd won out. That was the expectation, so it was fun to hear that.
SDSU opened the playoffs against Delaware, and the Jackrabbit offense pounded the Blue Hens into submission, scoring 5 touchdowns on their first 7 drives. That included a 14-play march that ate up more than half of the third quarter and featured 4 third-down conversions.
Just having those drives throughout that game, and just you can see them start to quit throughout that entire game. The physicality of our offensive line really just is the driving force of our offense.
When an offense can move the ball and absorb time and punish you somehow, some way, I mean, it's discouraging.
I mean, imposing your will is always a ton of fun.
It's also fun to watch #22. All-American running back Isaiah Davis rushed for 100 yards 9 times that season, reaching the century mark in all 4 playoff games. But that's what Davis does. In 12 career postseason contests, he's rushed for 1,477 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Isaiah is phenomenal. I mean, the plays that he makes, the juice and intensity that he brings to the table is unmatched. And
he's a phenomenal football player, and seems to get better as the year goes on, and that's playoff time. And so Isaiah Davis is a difference maker.
Beast also makes my blocks look much better. Because if I don't block my guy, he just runs him right over. And I'm like, yep, see, my guy didn't make the tackle.
Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card.
Who has the best first down celebration?
They all end up going like that. Yes. Like, no matter what it is, all of them just go like this.
This wasn't a first down, but when Jackson catches the touchdown pass, he fakes like an injury and then does his dance. I'm going, yeah, I missed.
I'm okay with the gritty. I mean, I think it gets a little overused, but.
You know, I think every time Jackson, you know, scores, he does like this little point, you know. I think it kind of like, So I think it started with him or Jaden, but it kind of like went to the whole team because like I feel like we kind of all started doing it. You know, running to the ball. You know, when you get to the ball and when Jackson's first down, he's pointing, I'm pointing too. You know, things like that. So yeah.
Hines ends up kind of going with his mustache and kind of just going like that, which it's always kind of fun to see him do that, and he always gets everyone juiced up.
Oh, want to do this? That's only for a touchdown. So if he wants that to happen, he knows how to make it happen. So
just seeing Mason do, I think he probably did the more first down than Isaiah sometime, but it was pretty cool to see him do that.
Mason too. Can't forget about Mason. Mason's right there with him because we all gonna be right there pointing at the first time if we get one for sure.
Well, I think anytime you see an offensive lineman celebrate, it's got to be that, and I think the guy that did it the most was Mason McCormick with his "it's a first down" type of deal.
The first down celebration kind of got me into some trouble with the refs. The refs didn't love it throughout the year, but I never got flagged for it, and it kind of just, I feel like it brings juice to us and it kind of demoralizes the other team a little bit.
Again, I don't like that, right? So I can't say it's my favorite.
The quarterfinals pitted SDSU against Holy Cross, and Crusader quarterback Matthew Sluka put on a performance of a lifetime, rushing for 212 yards.
Some players you just can't stop. You got to try to slow them down and make plays when you can, but he was determined to try to win that game for that team.
He made plays this feat, and they were having a ton of success running the ball with him, and
he probably couldn't have played any better than that.
Their quarterback had a phenomenal game, and when it's whatever it was, 2nd and 19 and he gets a first down running the ball, that's unacceptable, but he's a great football player.
As well as Sluka played, he made a pivotal mistake late in the first half. A deep drop, he'll throw over the middle, it is incomplete, intercepted! Jason Freeman returning it down the right sideline! He's gone! Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
What's funny, me and Savion, we were talking before the game just about like interception, just joking or whatever. And then right before that drive, he comes to me and was like, if you're gonna get an interception, you might as well get it now. All right, bet.
I didn't think he was going to score it. I always told him he ain't that fast, but he proved me wrong right there.
Low-key showed me some speed on that play, because I didn't think he was that fast. I seen him run before. I didn't think he was that fast, but he got a little speed on him though.
I seen the quarterback go to throw the ball, and I just broke on it. Ball got tipped, caught it, and I just seen green, so it's like just run as fast as you can, because it's not like I could see who was behind me, so ran as fast as I could, got in the end zone.
Freeman's pick gave the Jacks a halftime lead, but the game was tied into the fourth quarter until the Jackrabbit offense took over. Possessing the ball for 9 minutes, SDSU scored all 3 times it had the pigskin. And there was no bigger example of the physical toll the yellow and blue wrecked on the Crusaders than this. Gives to Davis up the middle, looking for room, breaking out left, first down. Boy, he's got green, 50, 45, 40. Let's see, what a stiff arm inside the 35. Davis is using and abusing the College of the Holy Cross.
I started running. I seen one of the Yankees making a block, threw the ball to my left hand, and I try to make a move on a defender, try to just be as physical as possible, and just show my dominance. Throwing stiff arm, that's what I always try to do.
I told him he looked like a little baby Derrick Henry right there. That was a great play he did, and I didn't think he was that strong. No, this play he that strong, but that was a good play he do. He always stiff arms people.
We were like, whatever, changing and whatnot. He's like, look at this, I'm on ESPN. Showed the stiff arm. I was like, hey, that's crazy, but yeah, it was a crazy stiff arm for sure.
Gronowski threw for 2 scores and clinched the game with this 18-yard touchdown run. Adam Bach played his first game in 2 months, and the Jackrabbits were back in the semifinals for the 5th time in 6 years. 364 days after Montana State eliminated South Dakota State in the semifinals, the Bobcats visited Brookings for the rematch.
I don't think nobody wanted that game more than the people in the locker room. The feeling they gave to us when we lost there the year before, I'll be lying if I didn't say we looked at that game as a championship as well.
We were playing for more than just 11 guys on the field. We're playing for all the Jackrabbit Nation, all the guys who came before us.
All of those guys had never played a game in Brookings that was this cold. Temperature at kickoff was 9 degrees. And with a northwest wind pushing 20 miles per hour, the real feel was 11 degrees below zero.
It was cold, but
I just had a lot of Vaseline and what's that stuff called? Man, I don't know, but it was burning my arms. Like, it had me warm, but it was definitely burning my arms.
That was the coldest game in history that I've ever played in, and I'm pretty sure it was the coldest game in NCAA history.
Colder than Montana State. It felt colder than when we were up in Montana State. I don't know if that was just like the wind or what.
If people tried to say that that game wasn't cold, they're lying, because it was cold, cold.
The field was completely ice, and I remember not feeling my toes that entire game. When we walked out for warm-ups, that's the last time I felt my toes for the next 6 hours.
I mean, it was freezing out, and it's crazy that people actually came to the game, because like I couldn't imagine just standing there for 3 hours. So, I mean, that just shows you how loyal our fans are.
And those fans had plenty to cheer about right off the bat. The Jackrabbits' opening drive was, you might say, well crafted. First, Tucker's block helped spring Isaiah Davis for 22 yards. On the very next play, he took a jet sweep, and he capped off the scoring march with a 36-yard touchdown catch.
Gronowski deep down the right seam. Tucker Kraft has it in stride, and he slides into the checkerboard. Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
We wanted to really showcase what he can do, and he is such a big part of our offense, and he really got us going in the first half and the first drive of the game.
Whether it's blocking or handing him the ball or catching the ball, he'll impact the game, and that opening drive was a great example of that.
That drive was an inkling of things to come, as Zach Lujan's offense was nearly perfect in the first half. 4 drives, all ending in touchdowns. The Jacks averaged 11 yards per play and did not commit a penalty, building up a 28-9 halftime edge.
I knew that Coach Lujan came out with a really good game plan going into this game, and I was really excited, and he ended up calling a perfect first half. Our offensive line just dominated at the point of attack. Our wide receivers and tight ends were making plays for us, and our running backs couldn't be stopped running the ball.
Coach Lujan had told us that's one of the better offensive games we played at SDSU ever.
And as we were running our offense, I thought, honestly, dang, these guys are good.
As good as the offense was, the defense was every bit its equal. Montana State featured the top rushing attack in the nation, racking up over 700 yards on the ground in its first 2 playoff games. On this day, though, everywhere a Bobcat ran, a Jackrabbit was waiting to swallow them up. Montana State managed only 52 rushing yards on 34 tries.
You gotta shout out to Coach Rogers again, man. Schematically, we were locked in on the run, and we went over so much film that week and so many plays that week to stop that run game.
When it was all said and done, SDSU had achieved a measure of revenge and a return trip to Frisco. Now, all that was left to do was celebrate.
It was definitely a cool experience. Then everybody, like, we all ran to the student section on the snowbank and jumping around and stuff.
Throwing snowballs everywhere, seeing everyone kind of just start flooding the field. It was just, it was like we were having a party on the field, and it was such a cool atmosphere.
I was frozen solid, and we jumped in that snowbank, which was cool, but it made me even more cold.
I didn't get there till late, but I saw everybody was climbing on those snow piles. It's like I ran over there and tried to get up on there, but I was a little bit late to the party.
I ran up into the pile, and then I realized that I'm getting too old and I'm gonna hurt myself, so I went back down and celebrated with the guys that were just still on the field.
If only we gave Coach Stig an ice bath that game, he would have been, he might have got pneumonia or something, but it would have been worth it, because how often has he gotten an ice bath? So.
Last play, the story of the 2022 national champions, is presented by First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card. 24 hours before the national championship, SDSU held its final practice of the season, with lots of interested onlookers.
It was a lot of alumni out there, and it was just a great, superb feeling to see all the who was all behind us.
They said there was like close to 300 there, so it's just super cool to see all that support you have.
Our former players were more excited than a lot of the team was to be down there, and you know they're living through us.
you just want to give them that title because they were a part of it too. They were a part of the build up to this point too.
It was also really cool to see the impact that Stig has had on numerous amount of generations of Jackrabbit football. And we've known how much of an impact he's had on us, but kind of just seeing how he's done that throughout all the generations of Jackrabbit football and seeing how much people support us and support him.
And then when they came out, when I was talking to the team, I thought, this is so honoring to our program. I hope they feel honored to be part of this. And it was just a great moment, honestly, for SDSU football.
However, not everything went as planned that day.
Well, I was throwing to Hines. I asked him to get a couple reps with me after practice. And like we do before every single game, we always want to go over a couple plays that we have together.
Caught the pass, took like 2 more steps and just heard a pop. And I was like, that's kind of odd. And it didn't hurt a lot right away.
And I turned around and he's limping back to me. And I was just like, oh no, this isn't happening right now.
At that point, I didn't realize you could play on a broken foot. So just getting that close and getting this close to this opportunity, and just, at the time I thought that I wasn't going to be able to get to play. That was heartbreaking.
The morning of January 8th, when the team arrived at Toyota Stadium, Jackrabbit Nation was already there.
Man, goosebumps already, but just the energy.
We knew we were going to have a walk, but we didn't know it was going to be that type of walk with all those fans. And
I think the walk was so cool. I mean, just seeing the fan support and the sheer emotion that everybody had, I think that we definitely fed off it. And just walking through our fans, giving high fives and getting down to the stadium, it was such a cool moment that I'll definitely cherish forever.
The adrenaline started rushing then, we were ready to play the game when we got off that bus.
I always listen to gospel music right before the game and just pulls me down. So I'm just listening to that walk and all you hear is the crowd though. No matter how loud the earphones were, you just heard the crowd. I was like, man, it's go time.
When we got off the bus and I see this massive line of people with our band, with our cheerleaders, and it took me about halfway through to say, this is really a special moment for us, for our fans. I think the thing that marked me the most was just the love for the Jackrabbits. And that's a pretty powerful word, love for the Jackrabbits. I got one thing for you, right? It's 2 words. What is it? Last play, right? Last play. That's championship effort above 98%. That's what it is, all right? You've done that. Go do it. 1 play at a time, 11 players at a time. Let's be that team, all right?
Let's go!
Let's be that team. I don't care what station we're on the field playing for a national championship. Let's be that team. Let's go. Here we go.
Welcome to Frisco, Texas, where today we play for more than a marker. This is the national championship of the FCS. NDSU had the ball first, but Tucker's largest tackle of Bison quarterback Cam Miller forced a punt. The Jacks' first possession, a 9-play, 85-yard drive. Gronowski hit both Kraft and Jaden Yonke for first downs, and Isaiah Davis finished it off. Davis behind Gronowski, pistol formation. Give to Davis, running up the middle, 15, 10, 5, checkerboard, touchdown, Jackrabbits! The game was tied at 7 after 1 quarter. The second began with SDSU facing a 3rd and 6 just across midfield. And Davis made a play that would loom large. 3-step drop, Gronowski over the middle, Davis juggles, makes the catch 35 to the Bison 31-yard line.
He was literally, as he caught the ball, being interfered with. But again, a guy that wasn't thinking about what's happening to him, but thinking about what do I need to do for my teammates.
On the very next snap, Davis's backfield teammate struck gold. Snap, Gronowski, hand to Johnson, up the middle, 30, breaks a tackle, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Jackrabbits! Like a burst of lightning on a sunshiny Sunday, Amar Johnson electrifies Jackrabbit Nation by blowing a hole through the Bison defense. Ahead 14-7, the Jackrabbit defense rose up on the very next play. Kobe Johnson ran for 13 yards, ironically the longest rush NDSU would record all day. But 2 cornerbacks combined to ruin the fleeting moment of Bison joy. Stephen Orell jarred the football free, and Dallas Beanham exited the pile in possession of the pigskin.
Then it was the Yankees who would cash in.
Davis the back on 3rd and 10. Bison come with 4. Gronowski, a good pocket, pump fakes, throws down the center of the field, and a first down to Jaden Yankee inside the 20. From the 18, Gronowski pump fake, high arcing ball, far sideline. Jackson Yankee makes the catch, backpedaling into the end zone. Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
He just broke the dude's ankles, and there's no better feeling than doing that on the biggest stage in the biggest moment and scoring a touchdown afterwards.
His celebration after running right over to the crowd, giving a horns down to the 3 fans that were in North Dakota State gear on the Jackrabbit side, we had all the confidence in the world that we were going to continue to play to the best of our ability.
That touchdown was more about individual effort. The next SDSU score would be about 11 men executing a well-designed play as one.
Gronowski claps his hands once, now a second time. He'll roll out to the right, throw down the right seam. Mike Morgan wide open, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Jackrabbits!
My favorite play in the national championship game is the pass also. Mike Morgan's just a great teammate, and to see him have that opportunity, there wasn't anybody that wasn't excited.
That play was actually supposed to be to Tucker Kraft, and Mike has not run that play all week long. And Hines ends up going down, and we end up kind of having to switch some of the roles in the game. Mike ran it to pure perfection, and when I was going down to fake the run, just seeing Mike slip out and there's nobody there, all I had to do was just give him a nice lob pass to him.
He's not the most talkative person, but you know, that day he was really talkative.
Before the half ended, Amar Johnson broke free again, this time for a career-long 55-yard scamper. He finished the game with 126 yards on only 9 carries. Hunter Dustman's field goal gave the Jackrabbits a 31-14 halftime lead.
We got to come out 0-0. We get the ball to start. We got to make a statement, okay? We got to make a statement, come down and score, okay?
Take it to the ref the whole time. Finish, finish, finish.
They're the champs, aren't they? Aren't they the champs? When you go into the ring with the champ, what do you got to do?
The Bison were up against the ropes, and it was Mark Gronowski who would land the day's biggest uppercut.
Gronowski fakes the pass, runs up the middle. Davis the lead block, cuts left 45, 40, left numbers 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Jackrabbits!
I didn't realize that Mark had that speed just because I race Mark all the time and I run right with him, but
the line parted like the Red Sea. They gave me 10 feet on either side to run through. There was nobody even there to touch me. And then getting up to the second level, Jackson Yankee takes out 2 guys with 1 block, and I end up just going around him, and there's nothing but green grass there.
For a man who was injured in the opening series in the Jacks' last trip here almost 2 years ago, that had to feel oh so good for the man who wears double aces for the Jackrabbit offense.
Seeing him take off and just, you know, honestly just kind of look like a little kid just having fun in the end zone, and just seeing the energy that he had and just kind of knowing that that's how the rest of the game was going to finish up.
When I was running to the end zone, I started thinking like I want to do some cool celebration and everything like that. But once I ended up hitting that end zone, there was nothing but pure joy that filled my body, and ended up just doing some stupid running celebration.
A unique celebration in the end zone.
He ran, didn't he? He went from a corner and ran all the way across, and yeah, that's not my celebration at all. I think you should come back to us just because they get all the love and stuff. I mean, we're just pushing other fat dudes around, and I think that they should run back to us because, I mean, ultimately we're the ones that are looking for oxygen in the stadium.
In actuality, it was North Dakota State who was down to its last gasp. The Jackrabbit defense limited the Bison to a season-low 21 points, matching what they had allowed in Fargo 3 months prior. And SDSU forced 3 turnovers, with 2 coming in the final quarter. Jason Freeman picked off his second pass of the playoffs, leading to the Jacks' final score.
Gronowski looking to throw, pump fake. He'll take a shot deep down the left sideline. Jackson Yankee, an over-the-shoulder catch in the back left checkerboard. Touchdown, Jackrabbits!
Then it was Dyshawn Gales who sealed it for the yellow and blue.
Looking, pump fake, rolling right, running to the right, throws a wobbly ball down the right side, intercepted Dyshawn Gales. He's out of bounds at the 15, and he's still running behind the Jackrabbit bench. Takes his helmet off, steps on the training table, and is basking in the glory provided to him by Jackrabbit Nation.
And I was looking at my family like, I'm here, like this is my time. And my mom, she was holding up the big head and stuff like that. And I just told them I'm here, like, there ain't too many times you're gonna get here, but I was like, I'm here this time.
I'm glad I could do it with family. Me and Dyshawn both got an interception in the national championship, which was crazy, because that's what everybody at home was talking about, because we're from the same area. So that's a moment I'll forever hold on to.
John Stiegelmeier just got the shower. He got the bucket dumped on him. Tucker Kraft, a big hug.
Tucker and Zach Hines got me, and
Stig has found the culprit and is pointing his finger at him.
I fired Schaaf at the time because he set me up, but I gave him his job back. Powerade is with ice is cold, and I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't, and so I didn't respond very well.
Gronowski under center, Gus Miller puts a knee to it. And the final 20 seconds are about to run off. Let the celebration begin. Ring the bell, Jackrabbit Nation. Your football team is the FCS National Champions.
Holding that ball after I kneed, I wasn't going to let that thing go. That ball was going to be held for the rest of the time that we were celebrating. And it was just such a cool moment to finally know that we are national champions.
How honoring was it to have all those fans there and then celebrate with us?
It just feels like it's like never ending of people. I mean, the whole stadium, or the whole field was blue. And it was such a surreal feeling.
In the moment of, like, you know, when the confetti's falling, you know, you feel invincible.
And I just kept mouthing to myself, like, this is so crazy. Like, it's like a surreal experience. You're in the moment, but you don't feel like you're there.
Seeing all those fans on the field, it was just a crazy feeling that none of us have experienced, and we just took it all in.
Seeing the sea of blue out there after we finally did it was probably the coolest part to me.
It was really a special feeling.
And let's give it up for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
I was pointing at the fans and thanking them, you know, that they were part of it. I wanted to try to find my family. They were off to my right, way off to my right. I wanted them to be part of it. I didn't feel comfortable holding it up. I think it was Mason said, hold it up and do it now, and so I did it. He's a captain, so you have to do it.
After the smoke cleared out on the field, it was just beginning to billow inside the locker room.
I mean, the cigars in the locker room with the cowboy hats was a ton of fun, but
those cigars did not go well.
I think Stig, I don't know how he thought about it, but I had to imagine that he wasn't too impressed when he got in the locker room.
That was interesting, because I was coming down the hall after all the stuff, and I see smoke coming out of the locker, and I literally had no idea what was going on. And then I opened the door and I said, holy nutmeg, and we were off to the celebration.
That was honestly probably one of the best parts of the trip, you know, to see everybody in there, take a picture with a trophy, I'll post it up with cigars in their mouth, everybody turn up, you know.
Stig, we've been waiting for this for the past 3 years. Stig said that once we got to Frisco and once we ended up winning that game, that he was going to dance with us in the locker room.
You know, it was a weak moment. They'd been yelling at me to dance through the years, really, and they said when we win a national championship. And so I didn't enjoy it, but I had to do it. And so I have a smile on my face because I'm celebrating with a bunch of people I literally love.
Coach Stig, he needs to work on his dance moves a little bit, let's just say that.
I was in the locker room and I, you know, kind of asked guys, where's the trophy at? Like, wanted a picture with the trophy or whatever. I think it was Savion Williamson just looked at me and goes, here. Well, you got to get a picture with the boot, and then Dyshawn comes in and hands me the cigar, and he goes, there you go. Now that's a cool picture.
Hey, this is what's on my heart, right? Totally on my heart. I love you guys. I can't say I love you guys. All right, I love you. All right, enjoy this. Let's do it again sometime, all right? Yeah!
I think, you know, people would talk about the number of playmakers we had, the defense we played, You know, the kicker Hunter making the kick. But I think the one factor was the love for their teammates. This was the closest football team I've ever been part of.
The love extended beyond the individuals who wore the uniforms. John Stiegelmeier, Coach Stig, retired after the victory. 26 seasons, 199 wins. And lastly, a national champion. The response to our retirement, Lori and my retirement, has been very honoring, and it's continuing. You know, we get cards and emails and so on, and it's just a reminder of the impact you can have when you put coach on your shirt, and hopefully we had a good one.
I mean, he's dedicated his whole life to this program, and just to finally see him on top, just so cool.
He deserves that. He's an outstanding person, a great coach.
His footprint will always be here. What he's meant to this university and meant to this team will live long after, you know, he's been gone and after he's been the head football coach here. Like, what he's instilled in us, and just to be able to get that done for him means the world.
And I just went up to him. I had to thank him. I was like, I'm just so grateful for, you know, you giving me the opportunity to be here. And he was like, no, I'm happy for you too. And it was just the coolest small moment we had.
You know, watching Stig raise that trophy and get that Powerade bath on the sideline that made the whole trip, my whole career here worth it.
The kind of guy that Stig is, and what he's done for this program and what he's done for us. I mean, believing in us and bringing us in as young recruits. I mean, it means the world. I love Coach Stig.
And for my wife and I can't tell you the number of times we looked at each other and said, can you believe what we get to do? And so, dream come true, dream come true.
And I think when I know these guys and you look under the helmets and you take the numbers off the jerseys, what they do in the classroom, the challenging majors they're in, the grades that they get, what they do in this community, and truly how they represent our university. And in this case, we got to do that on the national stage. I am forever grateful for what they've done. The national championship just puts in the spotlight everything that's right about college athletics and everything that's right about being a Jackrabbit. Thank you, guys. And then before I close, Coach Stig, come here for just a second. I'll be truly thankful forever for all the work that you've done, what you meant to me personally. I think my story is probably could be told hundreds and thousands of times with former student athletes and with former coaches and our fans and supporters. And so obviously you were recognized as Coach of the Year. You've been being able to win a national championship and all those things, but it's because of who you are as a person that we are all so excited that we got this championship and that you're the leader of it.